What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, let's talk about this Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence Jr. matchup that may be coming to fruition, and some things I didn't have a chance to talk about when they were said. I've been out for a few days. So I'm catching up with the conversations on some issues that happened a couple of days ago. But a report did come out again this morning from Boxing Scene about something that Floyd Mayweather Jr. said about Mikey Garcia, and who he has a better chance of beating, Vasily Lomachenko or Errol Spence Jr. And then, of course, something that Roy Jones Jr. said. I think it was late last week, or it might have been over the weekend, about his thoughts on the matter. So let me get into that. And it's, man, two very experienced, very intelligent people with a lot of experience can, they can see look at the same thing and see it completely differently. So, Floyd Mayweather has his opinion, and Roy Jones Jr. has an opinion. So, I respect both of them. Both of them, know a good bit more about boxing in the ring than I do. So, hey, you got to take them. You got to at least listen to what they're saying. However, man, I think that for obvious reasons, Roy Jones Jr. is tripping. But let me go over what Floyd Mayweather Jr. says. Now, before I do that, subscribers, thank you again for listening to the video. Appreciate you every time you guys stop by. Also, for the people that are not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also when we do the live streams. I'm going to be doing a live stream this morning. Had been off for the last week from doing them because I was moving from one state to another. And, so it just wasn't practical. It just wasn't practical for me to do them. But I'm back in action. So if you subscribe and hit the bell icon, you'll be notified of when they happen. So let's go through what Floyd Mayweather Jr. said. You have to respect Mikey Garcia for wanting to test his skills against the best guys out there. You can't fault him for doing it. You can't overlook Mikey in a fight with Errol Spence. Errol Spence can fight his ass off. It's a good matchup. Spence, he's tough, he's strong, he can bang. With the Errol Spence fight, it's tough. That's a tough fight for him, for Mikey. The Errol Spence fight is definitely a tough fight for him. His chances of beating Lomachenko are a lot better than his chances of beating Errol Spence. Lomachenko can't take it to the body, Mayweather said. Lomachenko can't take it to the body, and we've already seen that Lomachenko got knocked down and he didn't even get hit hard by Linares in May. So anything can happen in the sport of boxing. And yeah, I don't see how. I agree with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Obviously, that Vasily Lomachenko would be an easier fight for Mikey Garcia than Errol Spence would be, for the obvious reasons: the size, the strength, and just the physical advantages that Mikey Garcia might have over Lomachenko, or better yet, physical. Or rather, physical disadvantages that are not present in the fight with Lomachenko that would be present in the fight with Errol Spence Jr. But at the same time, as much as people that are familiar with this channel know that I like Errol Spence Jr. a lot. I like him a lot. And I definitely favor him to beat Mikey Garcia. And the way that I call it is, I see the fight is either it's going to be an unexpectedly good fight because Mikey Garcia is able to move and he's got more power than I thought he had, and he's able to move better than I think he's able to move, and has a better chin than I think he has, and definitely a better ability to take it to the body than I think he does. It's either going to be that situation, and that's possible, right? I mean, I can't say that it's not. I mean, I've underrated I've never underestimated Mikey Garcia. I picked Mikey Garcia to win every fight that he's ever fought, except for the fight with Errol Spence Jr. I'm not picking him to win that. Because I think he's just getting in there. I think what Mikey Garcia sees in Errol Spence is somebody that's green. And I think that he's trying to, I think that Mikey Garcia believes that his experience in the ring and his versatility in the ring will be the deciding factor, where Errol Spence's, in combination with Errol Spence's inexperience, because Errol Spence has not had that many fights, just to be honest. He's had 3 championship fights, one against Kell Brook, one against Lamont Peterson, and, the 1-round fight against, Carlos Ocampo, right? So that's Errol Spence Jr. still on a championship level is not very experienced. So I personally believe that's why Mikey Garcia believes that he can win the fight, versus the other guys who at welterweight, who all have a lot more experience than Errol Spence Jr. does in championship fights. I think that's clearly true of Danny Garcia. I think that's true of Sean Porter. It's definitely true of Keith Thurman, and it's very true of the one guy that you don't even hear leave the mouth of Mikey Garcia, which is Terrence Crawford. And I think that's why Mikey Garcia wants to do that. But still, I personally think that you're not going to overcome that type of beatdown, because he's too much. And while he might be less experienced, he's highly, highly talented, and his style is just so aggressive. And I believe he shows in the little bit that I've seen with the Lamont Peterson, I take these guys at their word that there's things that Errol Spence Jr. can do that you haven't necessarily seen him do. And along with what Shane Mosley had to say, which is that, look, Mikey Garcia started at 126 pounds, because he compared himself. Shane Mosley compared his fight with him moving up from lightweight to fight Oscar De La Hoya to Mikey Garcia moving up from lightweight to face Errol Spence Jr. And the fact that the size gap is a lot bigger, because Shane Mosley turned pro at lightweight, and he fought in the amateurs at a higher weight than Oscar De La Hoya did. I believe Oscar De La Hoya also might have turned professional at lightweight, and then from lightweight went to 140, went to 147 pretty quickly. But still, he started at a lower weight class, and then he eventually got to 147 pounds. Where you have Mikey Garcia, and I think Mikey Garcia is probably, I know that he fought at 100, I believe he fought at 132 in the amateurs, and then turned pro at 126. But he fought at 126, 130, and 130. He fought at least 130, 135, and 126, 130, 135. But Errol Spence Jr. started off at 147. And actually, I think he might have I know Keith Thurman had a fight at 154 before he went down to 147. But you're talking about Errol Spence, a guy who can probably fight at middleweight, who's that big and that strong a guy. So, man, he just might be biting off a little bit more than he can chew. But as far as what Roy Jones Jr. said, and, it's hard for me to really, press too hard on Roy Jones Jr., because I think that Roy Jones Jr. gives his opinion. And I don't know sometimes how much he thinks about it before he talks. But, for a guy like him, looking at Floyd Mayweather, like, he's never sparred with Errol Spence Jr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has been in the ring with Errol Spence Jr., so he really is very familiar with Errol Spence Jr. And Errol Spence Jr. fights with the PBC. He's fought on PBC cards. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is associated with the PBC, so I think there's a lot more familiarity with Errol Spence Jr. between Errol Spence Jr. and Floyd Mayweather than there is Roy Jones Jr. and Errol Spence, from what I can see. On the other hand, Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia used to fight with Top Rank and used to be on HBO. So Roy Jones has been ringside for a lot of Mikey Garcia fights in the early part of his career. So I think there's a good amount of familiarity with both fighters, both Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia and Roy Jones than there is with Roy Jones and Errol Spence Jr. And the style of fighter that Roy Jones Jr. is. Roy Jones Jr. is a guy that moved up in weight a lot. So to him, just in his own mind, moving up in weight to Roy Jones Jr. wasn't that much. It wasn't as big a deal to him because Roy Jones Jr. was such a phenomenal athlete and such a phenomenal fighter. And I think sometimes people take for granted that big size gaps might not be why a big size disparity might not be a big deal from Roy Jones Jr. That doesn't mean that that's not going to be the case for Mikey Garcia, because there's a lot of attributes that Mikey Garcia does that Roy Jones Jr. had that Mikey Garcia doesn't have. Foot speed and hand speed being two of the biggest. But anyway, it is what it is. I don't necessarily agree with. I tend to agree with Mikey Garcia with Floyd Mayweather Jr. in this instance. And also, this is the way that I think. I would rather see unification at 135 and then because they did unify. Mikey did unify at 135. I'd like to see him fight Lomachenko, and I'm not buying that this Lomachenko fight can't happen because of Bob Arum. I don't buy it. Not with that deal that they have with ESPN, and ESPN really wanting to get big fights on that network, on ESPN Plus or whatever they've got. My understanding is that ESPN just signed a deal that sounds, they didn't give a dollar behind it, but it sounds like it's as big as the DAZN deal for more fights, and for fights that are. It sounds like it's perfect for this. So, anyway, it is what it is, and we'll see. And with that, I'm out. Peace.